What would you say is a quality or a trait in terms of the leadership of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you think it's important for those wanting to be great leaders that they have to emulate?
I want to take it back a bit and look at 3 quotes.
Okay.
Right? The first is from Sayyidina Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. And who was he?
Great.
Zayn al-Abidin.
Zayn al-Abidin, the great grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he was a tabi'i, right? And he was a great scholar and zahid and abid. And he said, we used to be taught the maghazi of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the battles, but that was the term they used for the seerah, yani, the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like we were taught the surah of the Quran. What's the relevance of this quote?
Today it's not happening that way.
The importance.
So the first is the importance. Just as we're taught the surah of the Quran, we're taught the seerah. So the first is importance. What else?
Methodology of teaching.
Allahu Akbar. Who memorizes the seerah today?
Very little.
Who sits down with his children, like we say, Habibti, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, say it, and we repeat it 10 times, Allahu samad, let's bring it together. Who does that with the seerah?
Very
Talqeen of the seerah, where you have your child memorize the seerah, event by event, letter by letter, word by word, the way we do it with the Quran. It's almost doesn't exist. Yeah. So this is the importance and this is the methodology. Then we have a quote by Ismail ibn Muhammad ibn Sa'ad, who was the grandson of
Ismail ibn Muhammad ibn Sa'ad ibn Abi
Waqqas. And he was a scholar of seerah. And he said, my father used to teach us the maghazi and the saraya of the Prophet ﷺ, right? The seerah. وَيَعُدُّهَا عَلَيْنَا. He would count it for us, count it back to us, which I'm going to explain what that means. And he used to say to us, "O my son, هذه مآثر آبائكم." Allah. This is the honor of your forefathers. فَلَا تُضَيِّعُوهَا. Don't you dare lose it. Yeah. So what does this teach us?
Our honor is in the seerah of the Prophet.
Seerah of the Prophet sallallahu
honor from
is in the hadi, the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, he used to count it back. Again, this indicates a style of memorization that anyone who's memorized Quran, or we used to go madrasa back in the day, used to go duksik, kutab, whatever, you know about talqeen. What's the first ayah? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. What's the second ayah? Allahu samad. Habibi, what's the first ayah? What's the second ayah? Counting it back is an indication of the way of memorizing. A lot of repetition. And the other thing about it being the honor, it's not just the seerah that is us, it's our honor, it's the achievements, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat and tears that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba gave so Islam could reach us. فَلَا تُضَيِّعُوهَا. By turning away from the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
don't forsake it.
And forsaking the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and forsaking the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happens? We become humiliated, we lose our lands, we lose our honor, we lose everything.
It should be a part of your identity.
Of course. فَلَا تُضَيِّعُوهَا. The third and final quote is by Al-Imam al-Zuhri, who was one of the first scholars to codify hadith under the command of Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz radiyallahu anhu wa rahimahullah. He was also a great scholar of seerah as well as being a scholar of hadith, and he said something في علم المغازي علم الدنيا والآخرة. In the science, in the knowledge of maghazi, the battles of the Prophet ﷺ, the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, is علم الدنيا, knowledge of this life, والآخرة, and the hereafter. What do we understand from that?
You want the dunya? It's in the seerah.
It's in the seerah.
You want the akhirah? It's in the seerah.
It's in the seerah. So علم المغازي first is a ilm, it's a science. You know, we treat seerah like bedtime stories. Nice story, inspirational story. No, it's a science of human behavior, a science of governance, a science of economics, a science of relationships and marriage. You know, we had the red pill, I don't know what all that kalam fadi, right? And I remember one brother said something that really upset me. You know, I used to follow this brother, when he said this, I stopped. He said, you don't find the law of gravity in the Quran, but we have to study science. You don't find gender dynamics in the Quran and Sunnah, so we have to study red pill.
Gharib.
Allah musta'an. What is the seerah except for a science, a manual on how to deal with your wives? Prophet ﷺ had 11 wives in his life. You don't think you can find guidance in the seerah on how to carry yourself as a man with your wife? So, why I brought these quotes in is to say the importance of reorienting our discussions to be Islamic discussions. There's so much personal development and I don't know what. And we used to be into that stuff back in the day. Read the personal development books written by guys that their intelligence didn't even guide them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to learn how to be successful from them. And we haven't read the Seerah book. We haven't memorized the Seerah book, right? So this is the importance of this topic, prophetic leadership.